Welcome back to part 3, GE805 Restore. Get these electrolytics finished up today. Already restuffed this one. And while I was up here, I noticed this 0.5, well, it's actually a 0.47. I'm assuming this is still a paper cap, even though it's in a ceramic housing. But anyway, it's right here, so changed it out. And looking at the schematic, it was kind of important too. And up to the yoke. So that will probably help our horizontals width and linearity. I'm glad I seen that one whenever I restuffed that other one. Here's how I'm restuffing these bottom caps. There's 60 mics each, but they're in parallel, so I'm just going to put 150 back in the place of both of them. And I just solder wires on each lead. Of course, I've taken the old cap out of the sleeve by peeling back the end. And just slide that in. There's our plus, there's our minus. A little hot glue to hold it in place. And we'll pop it back in the holder. And here's a look at the caps that are restuffed. And although this cap is completely empty, as we combined the two into this one cap, just decided to put it back in. Makes it look more original. I'm going to put the 10-inch CRT, and let's see what the picture looks like with it in, because I've been using this little 5-incher. Picture looks really good. Keep in mind, we're under LED lights, and the camera tends to wash out the picture. Let me turn the overhead lights off, and then we'll see quite a difference. Good contrast, really bright. There's a blonder tongue, channel 6, coming through the modulator, off air, just with a piece of wire on the antenna terminal. And there's channel 4, that's just RF cable directly to the antenna terminals. The picture looks really good. Do need a little bit of adjusting here. You can see it was kind of pulled in here on the one side. Well, I think we have the horizontal and vertical adjustments set. So now I'm going to pull the 10-inch CRT back out so we can get into that volume control. Well, kind of what I expected. We've got an open volume control. Open from side to side, which should be 500,000 ohms, and nothing. Now from the center conductor to one side, we're okay. It's 500,000. A little intermittent as you turn it, which is not right either, but and we're down to 190 ohms with the volume control turned wide open. And there's 450,000 with it turned to minimum. So we're going to have to take the control apart. And of course the bad part would be on the very back side. Have the speaker loose, so we'll see what we can do with that. I may have a speaker I can dig up out of an old radio If so, if it would fit, I'll just go with it. It'd be a lot easier, because this cone is in really bad shape. It's broken in several places around it. There's that piece that's missing. I doubt if we'd ever get this to sound very good, even if we repaired it. So that's the two items for right now. Let's see what we can find out on these two. Well, found a speaker out of an old radio. Exact size. And the radio this came out of was a Bakelite, had a busted case, so I wasn't going to try to restore the radio anyway. And certainly parts come in handy. It's in good shape. Well, even a bigger surprise. Here's the original speaker that's bad. Transformer on it's 172.4. And here's a speaker out of the radio, 176. So I think that's close enough to work. So good deal. We can leave this all mounted together, get it hooked up in the set. Then we'll tackle the volume control. While I don't have a control to change this one that's open, I think I've come up with a different solution. The front of this two-section control is a coarse focus control. And that was for the old picture tube, which had the magnetic focus. Well, the tube I'm using, it's a 10RP4. It has electrostatic focus, so none of this is required. Don't really even need a focus control. So what I've done temporarily here, just to check my theory to see if it'll work, this focus control is 200,000 ohms. The volume is 500. But if I just unhook the focus control, put the two wires from the volume control up to the front here on the focus control, that will work. I don't see any difference in the volume level, so I think that'll work fine. And what I would like to do is take this control apart, just swap the two insides. Put the volume control here in the front, it's not used. Put the focus control section in the back, and we'll use it as a volume control. The problem with these, when you bend these tabs back to take it apart, you probably only have 2, maybe 3 chances to bend them and then bend them back before they'll break off. So we're going to try it. Well, unfortunately, couldn't swap the two insides of the control. The back one was made different than the one in the front, so I did clean it up while I had it apart, so that helped. And I just hooked up the volume to this back control, which is actually the front of the control. It's not perfect, but the volume does work okay. And I decided to go back and restuff the paper caps. I wanted to show you real quickly here how I do this. Heat gun, just heat up the old one, pull the insides out, put the new cap in, then hot glue gun with some brown glue, just fill the ends up with the glue. I think there's around 15 of these that I've changed that I'm going to go back and put them in the old case. But that's how I do it. Alright, here's a final look under the chassis. I restuffed those paper caps. Took a couple of hours, but makes it look a lot better. And along with the paper and electrolytic caps, we did have 3 bad tubes. And an interesting thing about this last one that I found bad, this 25L6, and you can see that it's cracked. What was kind of strange about it, it was still working, but sound was distorted. So 3 bad tubes, the electrolytics, the paper caps, replaced the selenium rectifiers with the silicon rectifiers, new fusistor, and we also had to replace the speaker. Took the one out of the radio I had, took the controls apart and cleaned them, and then on the volume we moved the volume control to the focus control terminals because they won't be used. Now the volume control works good.
You picked a good place for it.
This little test tube really done its job. Made things a lot easier. Here's a closer look at the 10 RP4 that I'm going to be putting in this set. There's a label. 35554. I have no idea what year that means on the serial number, but it's a good strong tube. Checks like a new tube on the CRT tester. And this tube is auto focusing, so it doesn't require the focus magnet or the ion trap. This CRT sets in these metal braces, and these are the old pads that were on each side, so I'll probably just reuse them. They seem to be still okay. They're just a little hard with age. This strap that goes around the tube doesn't have anything on the strap that wraps around the tube, so I have this membrane type material. It's really thin, got a sticky back on it. I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces of it and put it around this. Alright, CRT mounted back. Got her strap tight. Well, our picture looks really good on the GE. Something that's been kind of bothering me since I've been working on this set, even after replacing all the caps, checking all the resistors, doing all the repairs that we've done to this set, could never get the high voltage up. It's about 9,000. I can zoom in here for you. Really about 8,000. So I wondered about this horizontal output tube. The tube checks good, but I didn't have one to replace it with. It is a 19 BG6. It's kind of an oddball horizontal output tube. And at first I suspected, well, maybe the horizontal drive voltage is low. But put my test socket on the tube. That's my homemade test socket. That's pin 5, which is a horizontal drive. And waveform matches what the schematic says, and we've got 106 volts, 107. So they're saying 100. Now, line voltage can make that vary a little bit. Let me run the line voltage down just a little. Yeah, I see there's 100 volts. So that can vary. So we've got plenty of drive going to the tube, but still only about 8,000 volts. So I didn't have a 19 VG6, but I did find one on eBay. This is a new old stock, dated 1959. So let's pop it in and see if it makes any difference at all. Left my test socket on and left the scope hooked up to pin 5. And looks like we've got 110 volts of drive. Waveform looks good. So let's check our high voltage and see if we made any improvements. And it did. We're up to right at 10,000 volts. Slightly less, but pretty close. I think we have improved the horizontal width because we're overscanned really well on both sides now. So guess we'll be leaving that new tube in there. And this is a horizontal linearity coil here on the bottom and a horizontal size on the top. And they pretty simple design. They just flattened those out on the ends, and a screwdriver will fit in that slot. So we went over those, set them by what the literature says, and I adjusted this horizontal drive control down here. It's set correctly, and that's just a horizontal oscillator coil that kind of works in tandem with the horizontal hold control on the front. Alright, test socket removed, got the tube put back in. So now let's put the side on this high voltage cage. I think we're all buttoned up, ready to put this back in the cabinet. And I'll hang on to this old tube. It works, but doesn't work quite well enough, at least in this set. So that'll do it for part 3. GE 805 restore. We got one more video to finish this setup, and we'll be working on that cabinet, doing some buffing on it. And we got to find some knobs, come up with something for that, and then we'll put it all back together and show you the completed set. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Hey, if you like this video, how about subscribing to our channel? We would really appreciate it. Thanks.